All right, legends, happy Friday. Hope you're doing fantastic today. Let's take a look here at the price of Bitcoin altogether. Hope you're doing well, guys. Much love to everybody. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin did get a pretty significant pump throughout today, and I got stopped out from my short position at break even, and I would be devastated if the price really starts rejecting from here strongly, because I am also in a short position right now. However, it's not that big. It's not that big of a short. It's literally a rejection from that daily level and the point of control. I didn't get a very good high level here, because for me, I was not interested in shorting the pump. Whoever managed to get into a short at the highs here for an attempt, I mean, I didn't have anything ready really. Big short position was stopped out, okay, from 73.5k zone, which was it is what it is. I would, if this does roll down it throughout the next coming days, it's going to be a little bit of shame. I don't have enough information here for me to say, right, this swing short. I would actually prefer a swing short attempt if we were to get above this high. And literally, what is interesting is the anchored VWAP from all-time high on the Bybit chart. Some other future exchanges charts as well does, we haven't reached that anchored VWAP, not from all-time high, but from 98k. Okay, so it's one that looks interesting. Okay, Bybit is also very relevant for this. And the anchored VWAP is sitting at 74.9k approximately. It's a zone that I would be really interested in looking for, that kind of double top fake out. Of course, if it breaks out with power, then not interested in the short position. We're going to dive in through the lower time frames, of course, discussing the 4-hourly time frame. What do we have mapped up here? Is this the start of something very, very bullish? Or is it just a bull trap, right? Just coming to the highs of resistance, claiming almost the highs, or claiming them later on in the next coming days just to roll over, okay, and go to lower prices. We'll discuss a little bit of what happened in this range. Of course, I did have my doubts of the price, pumping out here. Corrective structure, ending up in a little bit of a triangle or a WXY, finishing your Y wave in a triangle, and getting the pop to the upside here. And we can discuss about, what structures do we have here. I'm going to keep it relatively simple. It's either a ABC. However, this ABC almost took out the high, but it would be really cheeky for the price to really correct down in the next coming days, right? Just almost taking out the high. So in that case, anybody that was short from here and protected, such as myself, I did take some profits on the move down, got stopped out from that heavy short, and entered a smaller short position. For me, I'm not confident in getting into a big short here at the moment, okay? But that rejection from the daily and the point of control was enough for me to execute. It was this one right over here. I'm just going to share the entry right there. Devil also explained this inside of the trading community. Okay, let's see if this wants to load up. And it's not the greatest. It's lagging a little bit here, guys. Sorry about that. Very far away, stop loss above the high. Not an awesome, great, massive position. It can be treated as a swing. There is still that possibility for that ABC movement to the upside. However, it's just not that clear. It's not that clear. We're going to explain a little bit of the scenarios, okay? So we did break out the point of control. No short, got stopped out from the short that I had here. And as we got this movement down, I entered a short position just in the last hour, basically. Stop loss at the high. you know, we're going to give the bears a chance here. It's not a heavy position. It will be heavy if it does come down to 60k, but this stop loss is kind of worth it. There is that chance for the bears as well, and I would be a little bit pissed off. There might be a way of adding to the position on a sign of weakness, but we need that sign of weakness. There's no sign of weakness as of yet. Okay. Yesterday, there was actually a pretty okay long position to be taken, okay, in this little triangle. There was actually an acceptable long position, detecting that all of this was likely corrective. And there was a trading opportunity here that I want to explain. Just for education, it has to do with Elliot Wave theory, and we'll break down, of course, Elliot Wave theory. We didn't do much Elliot Wave theory yesterday, not at all. We're going to stick with Elliot Wave theory a little bit today, and discuss a little bit here the you know, the reasons as well of this pattern here, squeezing in a little small triangle, you know, ending up breaking up to the upside, which was mentioned in the morning update in the Telegram community, the trading community. We talked about this setup inside of the trading community, where, you know, it was very much acceptable to look for a squeezed triangle in the next coming hours. This was yesterday, and detect 5 waves. We're looking for a sideways WXY, okay, where the Y wave ends in a triangle. So if we do squeeze in a triangle, okay, yesterday, forming those 5 pivots, we have an acceptable long entry. If we can detect them, we literally got a pump, a dump, a higher low, a lower high, and, you know, we actually formed the 5 waves in an A, B, C, D, E inside of the triangle to give you a tight stop loss beneath the last higher low. And this trade was you know, set up. Okay, it's a plan. Obviously, the price action needs to evolve in that triangle to give you that possible long trade setup to the highs. You know, if we go higher, you got a good entry. You can leave some open eventually, right? So we provide all of this inside of the trading community. Okay, we provide many different plans, not only long or short. It's how the price could evolve, okay, on the lower time frames, and that's why the people are inside of the trading community. If you are interested, just send me a DM down below, okay, inside of the Telegram. You just need to sign up throughout one of the affiliates, and we'll get you a few months for free inside of the trading community. So big rejection from here. I'm going to break down a little bit what we could be looking for in the next coming days. We're coming into the weekend, so I do expect the weekend to slow down in volatility, which maybe not. Maybe today it creates that pump and dump, and we turn Friday into a dumping day. That could also happen. Anyway, stay tuned because we've got a lot of information to talk about. We're going to focus a lot on the 15-minute time frame, literally focusing with this movement, okay? Considering Elliot Wave theory, invalidations for the bullish case, and invalidations for the bearish case as well, naturally, okay? So make sure to stay tuned. Grab your cup of coffee, your cup of tea. I got a cup of tea, good old English breakfast tea. And make sure to get ready because we got a good one here. All right, I want to give that explanation here of this little range that was mentioned in the Telegram yesterday in the trading community. It was just literally a WXY, okay, that ended up with that explosive breakout, okay. You finished here in that Y wave in a triangle, okay, so you got that flat in your wave W right over here, okay, you got a flat over here. Your wave X, that could be a WXY or a expanding flat. However, expanding flat doesn't look too nice here. It's very 3 wavy, so a WXY for that X wave, you know, looks better. And then you have the Y wave in that triangle, okay. Now this triangle over here, what we can see is that you did form those 5 pivots. From this high, you got wave A, wave B, wave C, wave D, sorry, my bad, wrong tool. A, B, C, no, A, B, C, D, E. So A, B, C, D, and E. You know, you could have had that long attempt with a relatively, you know, shallow stop loss here beneath the last higher low to try and break out these highs as the take profit zone. We did have a little SFP, little double top, did drop about you know, $700, not that much. Very aggressive scalp. Okay, you need to be defensive. You're getting stopped out at break even here, basically, if you did take that with good risk management. But the long entry was looking good as we were developing the triangle. It was getting squeezed here with higher lows and lower highs. And that is literally, we actually got this here with, yeah, basically, I just wanted to show you here this sideways WXY where you can see it. You know what would be fun here, putting this on the chart right over here and expanding this and actually seeing, okay, how you form that sideways WXY where you have a flat right over here, as you can see, boom, 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 right? You got the flat in W, flat in W, and then you have your wave X. That could be a zigzag, a WXY, it could be a triangle, it could be all sorts. In this case, we would label it as a sideways WXY as well, or expanding flat, even though, you know, a little bit tricky with a C wave. And then your triangle, right, where you have A, B, C, D, E, right, and then you get the pop to the upside, giving you that potential entry, right, before the breakout. Okay, before the breakout that literally is here, right? Of course, breakout traders would just treat, you know, the triangle breakout, right, classic, which I don't like very much, where you long in the breakout of the triangle here. Okay, I'm not much of a breakout trader. I like to detect the lows to get into that long position in this case. But just wanted to give a little bit of that education here that was given in advance yesterday morning inside of the trading community for people that are around, they're watching the charts. You know, if we do develop that triangle here, we could be looking for that long entry with the stop loss above the higher low instead of long in the breakout, right? So that, you know, came to fruition with yesterday's price action. Just wanted to mention that little bit of information that we are discussing inside of the trading community yesterday. So let's dive in through the comment section. My bad, it is Friday. Happy Friday to everybody. I'm devastated about getting stopped out with, you know, a break even from that swing short. Okay, it is what it is. Did manage to scratch some profits. Not enough though. Not enough, but it is what it is. It's part of the game. It was such a good entry. I didn't have massive reasons to close the position. I mean, this was, you know, I still could have made some significant profit here, understanding that this is corrective and just close that position. But because it was such a good entry, it was going to give a chance here for the bears, of course. So as mentioned, it's not about being right or wrong. It's all about managing your positions. All right. This does happen more often in your trading career where, you know, instead of getting stopped out at big losses, you get stopped out at break even without, you know, collecting a lot of the profits. But anyway, as explained yesterday, I didn't have a strong reason to close that short position. Okay, that swing short. This could have been corrective. You could have been forming multiple 1-2s here as a trick instead of that triangle breakout. I mean, if you longed here, you're getting stopped out of that long position that was mentioned. And I was just giving that chance. Okay, obviously I was in bed. This happened late last night, early this morning, of course, this pumpy action that we got to the upside. So part of the journey. It is part of the journey. You know, when I can share the P&L stats, but the P&L from the last week doesn't look great because the P&L shows you the unrealized profits as well, which eventually now is in the negative. But let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, and everyone got wrecked today, I guess. Not everyone. I can show. I'm happy to show my P&L, guys. Okay, who's up for seeing my P&L over the last 30 days of the month, right, from this range? Who's up for it? I can show Bluffin, BTCC, the two main exchanges that I'm using at the moment, and I'm happy to share my P&L. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see the P&L of the last 30 days. Let's go right away through the comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Love from India. Much love. Yes. Yujin, it is Pukin pre-live, just to confirm Andy case. Much love, my man. Hello, Andy. Sup, bro. Much love. Axikuno, Market M. Sup. How you doing? Trick. Collaboration stream. No, we were talking about a collaboration, but we didn't have time to organize it. Myself and Devils. Ashil. Akis. Awesomeness. I've been waiting for this stream since the pump started. I'm stuck in the short from 70.5k. Look, awesomeness. I got really scary earlier, close to 74k. Dumping hard now. Yes, it is a bit. It is dumping. Much love, Path Mario Ayakos. We can talk about that. I don't like to see this, guys, about people getting trapped at 70.5k, right, and holding a trade at a loss. I don't like to. I never support this, guys. You know the deal. You don't want to get stopped out at a minor loss, and you're willing to hold the trade for the reversal. This is not good. This is not good at all. Okay. It me much love, like very major. Much love to you. I was calm about. We will not cross it. You were calm. We have a major resistance at 74.5k. Interesting. Yeah, we're going to break down the analysis, of course. Okay. I'm in the position protected already, says Pathmaria. It's absolutely awesome. Okay, big deal. Whale. Not happy with that face. Divine Hood, we finally hit the Coinbase anchored VWAP. Yeah, well, we did actually hit it already on the 4-hourly time frame when I do get the anchored VWAP here. It was hit on, looking at Coinbase right over here. This was the reason, one of the main reasons of that swing short that was taken last week. But got stopped out at breaking. I would be devastated if the price does move down. I am positioned in short. I am positioned, but it's not that big. Just because I don't have a reason here to make it extremely big. I'm not that confident, as a trader. Sometimes you have very confident trades, and that's where you go with the big account, right? With big capital, which was my case last week. When you're not that confident, you see the bullishness for the short in this resistance zone. I will enter, but I won't enter that heavy, which is the case right now, right? Sometimes you have trades where you can see the 60% probability of playing out. Sometimes you're very confident and you see an 80% probability in playing out. That's when I would go, more heavy, of course, risking, even 3% easily of my trading capital from my bigger account. And, sometimes this is how you need to play the game, right? Overconfident trades, I go with a little bit more capital. Not that confident, a little bit less capital, right? So, what I explained also the other day, which, it doesn't mean it needs to happen, but it can happen, right? Where we did have here, let me just go through the 4-hourly chart, which would be better for this scenario, where the price created that swing failure pattern here. We can talk about the fractal. Fractal would be still in play almost. We can talk about that later, but I want to focus on the 15-minute time frame and local setups and how the price could evolve throughout the weekend, just to get ready for that weekend trade, right? Potentially into Sunday, Monday. Weekend is usually low volatility, a bit rangy, usually, okay, not always, but usually is. And we can get some plans ready for that Sunday, Monday trade, just like the one last week, because last week, Friday, just exactly 1 week ago, we were talking about the plans for the Sunday, Monday trade, right? Weekend is likely not going to get much volatility. And we're looking for the price to grind to the downside into this 67, 66K to maintain our support, point of control, value area low on some exchanges, to then get that move up, from Monday. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look for how the price could develop throughout the weekend so we can get ready for that Sunday, Monday trade. Okay. That's what we did on Friday, and it did actually play out very nicely. We did form a couple of lows throughout the weekend, coming slightly below 66k, and then got the pump on Monday, right? So we're gonna talk about that in today's stream, get some setups ready, because this is what we do as traders. We get scenarios, setups ready, and we try and look for high probability trades. I want to give the quick example here from this price action, but sorry about this, guys. I need to do the disclaimer, the good old-fashioned disclaimer here. The content is for educational purposes only, okay, and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision. Said that, let's go through this example, because this was very disturbing back in October of 2025. This was really, really nasty to have that swing failure pattern from that lower high of the 13th of October. This is $116,000. We can see how the price formed that swing failure pattern, and then we got a pump hitting the 0.88 Fibonacci, literally back testing that swing failure pattern level. As you can see, it was a back test. So you swing failure pattern, back test it, and then you go. Well, the price comes up literally a few $100s away from that high, right? Could this happen? I mean, absolutely. There's reasons to believe that this could definitely happen. Okay, so yeah, we hit above the 0.88 Fibonacci, almost taking out the highs. And of course, with that pump, you would believe that you're coming so close to hit it. You know, you're probably going to correct and come back up, right, and take that high. But you know, there's no coming back from there, right? I would be, would be devastated, because this was my heavy short, right? So with this pump, all of the people that shorted last week, right, that are defensive, if you had your stop loss at the high where you would put it initially at the beginning of the trade, you would still be okay. But you can see we were just not even a couple of $100s away from hitting that high. It would be actually pretty nasty to see, right? Not even a double top, because this seems like it's a sweep of shorters, right? It's a sweep that people that have been short. But this is what we do as traders. You know, I need to collect profits on this movement down, because I might get stopped out at break even, or not taking any profits at all is irresponsible. And anyway, let's see if this wants to load. Why isn't this loading? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll try and load it here and then put it on. Let's go through the comment section. Sorry about that. Let's go through comment section and let's break down here a little bit what I am looking for, guys. Okay, what I'm looking for: small short that could turn out into a good swing short. The bearish case would be very cheeky for the price to form a very slight lower high and really start rolling over here throughout the next coming days very aggressively, right? It does have a chance still. It still does have a chance, even though it is not that common to get so close to the highs for a wave 2, basically, to break down in a wave 3 later on. This would be in the next coming week. So it's a little bit doubtful, this short. Okay, a little bit doubtful. The bearish case scenario does not look that pretty at the moment here. And we're going to break down here how the price could develop throughout the weekend to get ready for a new trading setup. Okay, new trading setup that I would be looking for, regardless bullish or bearish. Okay, we're going to talk about both scenarios. It's a setup that I would be interested in for More after the weekend. In the trading community, we will be obviously giving those short updates as the price evolves, and see if we can look for a high probability pump on Sunday or a high probability dump right Sunday evening when the markets start opening. Let's say hello to the people that are just joining. Thanks for joining, smashing up the like button, much appreciated. If you do enjoy the content, please do so. But you don't consider shorting this high was a good idea. But don't you consider shorting this high was a good idea? Absolutely. I mean, I'm in a, I create a few plans, and for me, the reason of this short was as explained on yesterday's stream. If we double top here, it's a potential short. If we take out the highs, it ended up with a significant wick. Okay, we didn't get a reaction at the daily. It actually broke out from the daily, and we pumped all the way to 73,000, 700 or 900 or so, right? So short is not a great entry, but the ABC potential, because you didn't take out the high, it's still possible that this is a three-wave corrective structure after this impulse down. It's like really bad, because it's not common to be $100 away from hitting the high. It's not very common for a wave 2, basically. So if we end up moving down here in a wave 1, boom boom 2, and then 3, and we actually nuke down throughout next week, for example, to form that wave 3 and start coming down to $60,000, basically, it's a difficult short, right? I think maybe a lot of people would be waiting for the swing failure pattern or hit the anchored VWAP on Bybit. Okay, you do have that anchored VWAP from 98k, basically. Well, it's 97.7k, which is just above these highs, like for a double top, right, kind of trade setup, which gives you that entry stop loss at the high. For that swing short potential, okay, to come down to 60k, and this is the issue, right, in this zone. It's not an easy short decision. It's not an easy short decision, but because I had my plan. However, this plan, because we had a significant wick to the upside, remained the same. Daily level point of control also that we had from this range, we did not get a reaction on the first pump. It broke out. So my plan, as explained yesterday, was we need to get beneath again this level for me to execute this short position, which is literally this short trade. This short trade, as you can see, is entered exactly beneath the daily level, right, as we were getting this dump. You know what I said? Because we haven't taken out the high, it's acceptable to get in. Okay, for me, it's acceptable. However, your stop loss is relatively far away, so I can't get in with a massive position like I did last week here with the anchored VWAP. It's I realized that we could correct here throughout the weekend, so this is a trade that I would monitor eventually throughout the next coming days. But the plan remained the same. However, the wick was a little bit too high. I mean, this has the potential of rolling down throughout the next couple of weeks. It is treated more as a swing trade as well. Okay, this is more treated as a potential swing trade, which was generally the plan also of yesterday. However, I don't know how the wick is going to be. I mean, will it be a small wick or will it be a large one, which is the case here? But where I'm interested in trading is on, either a double top, which we did miss. We did actually swing failure pattern from this lower high right there. But that, with being so close to the highs, I would never treat this as a SFP level. But literally that would have been your best option. But I didn't have that planned. This was not part of my plan. So yeah, literally I can't get into that short because I didn't have it planned. I'm just I think a lot of people were waiting for those highs to be taken, and we didn't in the end, right? We're dropping down now a few $1,000s without, you know, taking out that high, which is cheeky. It's kind of cheeky. It is cheeky because I know there's going to be a lot of take profits above this high, right? And a lot of not, you know, for the longs are going to be what, you know, whoever's longed in the last few days, right? Say that maybe you longed here Monday basically, or you longed here yesterday in that triangle, you know, structure or that WXY basically. Lots of take profits are here at the highs, right? So this is really, really nasty. It is nasty, and there's lots of shorts, you know, waiting to get into that swing failure pattern, right, from the high, right? Kind of a double top situation. So it's interesting. Lots of traders around the world in the last few hours, regardless longs or shorts, they're like, damn you Bitcoin, right? Damn you Bitcoin, because people that were long in the last few days, say from this range, want to take profit at the highs. It's a target zone, right? It's just naturally a target zone. You know, this is pumping good. It's looking good. We're gonna, you know, I'm waiting to take profit at the high, right? It's most of my profits in this case. And on the other side, you have the double top traders, the ones that want to get into the short. We front run those highs. So a little bit of a, you know, annoying kind of movement here for Bitcoin to get into that trade. But, you know, because we didn't take those highs and we came back down the daily and the point of control, that was my execution naturally, because I have a big gap of a stop loss here. I am treating it more as a chilled swing trade where I could potentially add to this position in the coming days. Maybe it might get stopped out, but not going too aggressive. You know, as you can see here, you know, I would treat this as a swing potential, right? Still wanting to hit $60,000, right? Still wanting to hit, you know, $60,000, which then would be a good enough take profit. This would, you know, take 1 to 2 weeks eventually, at least, to see if it is going to move down there. But anyway, let's break down here locally what's going on. Okay, everybody has their own plan. I just talk about mine. This was one possibility. We either double top, you know, tight stop losses, or we reject from the daily and that point of control. However, the wick was a little bit too aggressive. You know, I was not planning on such a large move here to the upside for this reaction, or, you know, get down below the resistance, basically not flipping it as support. And this is why, if that is the case, you just need to calculate your risk, decrease your risk here in that case, and that's it. So let's break down here a few of the scenarios. Thanks for joining on this Friday morning, evening, wherever you are in this world, and we'll break down a little bit of the 1 hourly time frame bullish case scenario, target zones for the bullish case, and bearish options as well. Bearish options are still available, even though they're not that great. Coming so close to these highs, they are not that great. Okay, I've been leaning a little bit more bearish, as you know, on the higher time frame. Local time frame, you need to always, you know, be bullish, bearish. Yesterday, you know, on inside of the trading community, just so you are aware, intraday we do look for longs and shorts. Okay. And you can ask the community. Some people of the community might be in the live stream right now. We do talk about possible longs. We talked about this short trade yesterday. It's a scalp rejection from the previous day point of control. So we did reject from 70.6K, you know, about $1,000, literally treating it as a scalp. You know, if you did get into that scalp position, you know, collect some profits, right? It's just a scalp. We're ranging very much here. A lot of people want to get into intraday setups as well, not only swing trades. And overall, you know, throughout the morning as well, we discussed how the price could evolve for the bullish case, right? So we are looking for longs and shorts depending on how the price develops. And the triangle here, you know, we did pump up. We got rejected from 70.6k initially yesterday, and then got the dump down. We formed a higher low, a lower high, and a higher low, and you know, we ended up breaking out right throughout early this morning. So locally, we consider bullish and bearish, right? We look for intraday setups here a lot of the times inside of the trading community, but on the higher time frame, I was leaning more bearish with this high as an impulse. Can we form a three-wave structure here to then roll down next week? I still have my doubts at the moment, because it is not common to come so close to that pivot high in a wave 2 when we are looking at this in the bearish case scenario as a three-wave corrective structure. I like to see it as a WXY, but you can fit an ABC as well, right? WXY here, where you have also your WXY in this zone finishing in a triangle. Okay, that's just a wave X here, WXY, and then forming that zigzag to the upside, right? Anyway, a three-wave structure to keep it simple. Impulsive move down in the bearish case, of course. Three-wave corrective structure. Now, you know, if you want to see this as a bearish option where you move down impulsively and you form a three-wave corrective structure, there is a problem right now. There is a red flag. There is a red flag when we talk about probabilities and, you know, what happens most commonly for a wave 2. Wave 2s usually reject in between the 50% Fibonacci and the 7/8 Fibonacci at most. That is this zone right over here. This would be the common rejection area for the wave 2. It is very uncommon to retrace, to form a wave 2 when you retrace above the 0.88 Fibonacci. It is quite uncommon, and it's more common to take that high at some point, right, in the near future. So we are going to consider the bullish case eventually, but for the bearish case, you know, there's this red flag at the moment, right? You want a three-wave corrective structure, you know, golden pocket, 7/8 Fibonacci, not above the 0.88. We got above the 0.88 right now from this drop, and that is not common for a wave 2. So that is a significant red flag for the bears if we want to consider a wave 1 and a wave 2. However, we did have that example from October, right, of 2025, where you did form a wave 2 here at, you know, at the 0.88. So it's not impossible. It can happen, but it is quite rare. You know, we don't see many of them. I just remember this one right over here, where from this pivot high, you did form a wave 1, wave 2, right? And then 3, 4, 5. Your wave 2 retraced above the 0.88, right? So could it happen still? Absolutely. You know, there's still that chance for that to happen, right? It is a possibility. Let's leave it that way. Let's break down the bullish case. I mean, there's not much to really discuss here on the 4-hourly time frame. You literally, you know, if we are considering this scenario as a three-wave structure, impulse down, three-wave move up, we got a very big problem right now here, almost taking out the highs at the 0.88. That's, you know, a red flag. It's uncommon for the wave 2. Could this extend and form a WXY in a different way? We talked about this yesterday, and it is possible. However, a lot of Elliot Wave theorists might be would disagree maybe on this, because this is old school Elliot Wave theory, where your wave W can be a triangle. You have a triangle here in wave W, your flat here in wave X, and then you have your zigzag that takes out the high here. All right. ABC up, takes out the high here, and then obviously gets the rejection back down. Even though you take out this high, it still can be bearish. It would be just a different type of WXY that could be on the formation here. Levels of resistance that I would consider is on some future exchanges, the anchored VWAP from $98,000, which is literally at 74.9k, above those highs that we have at 74k, right? I would treat this as the same as what happened here on last week, which was an epic short, guys. This was actually, as we were doing the stream, how I'm looking to execute this short. It was a very good entry, and because I went heavyweight, I had to take some profits off the table, and devastated because I got stopped out at break even with this pump today. But I would treat it as so. Anchored VWAP on Coinbase was the one that got rejected last week, but on some future exchanges such as Bybit, anchored VWAP has not been hit last week, and it is slightly higher. I would really treat it as so, because there is a chance of, if you take out this high, there is a chance of rejection as a double top situation here. There's two scenarios: you break out, or you get a rejection, either double top or the anchored VWAP is what I would be looking at literally 75k, looking at the Bybit chart. Preferably, we would have to see how we get up there, but the short is taken only on the rejection, either of the anchored VWAP or either at the double top. I have no other short trade. If the price action trades above it, I cannot short it. And it's quite interesting because at the beginning of the stream today, I had someone saying, I'm holding a short from 70.5k, and I'm like, why are you in this trade? What plan did you have? Where is your stop loss? Is it above 74k? I would imagine. But yeah, people that are in shorts from 68k, 69k, or 70k, I do not understand. I seriously do not understand, because we were discussing that this might be corrective and we might break out to the upside. Whoever's shorting wherever here is literally going to be underwater. You're going to start thinking about hope, and hope, I hope it reverses, because even though I've been mainly more vocal bearish that this could be an impulse and this could be a correction to roll over, I'm short from here. If I'm getting into any local shorts in this range, I got into a short yesterday. It was a scalp short, took some profits, got stopped out at break even at the beginning of the stream, as you saw yesterday. But I don't hold a short in the negative, guys. It's not good practice, guys. It's really not good practice, because you will get hurt, right? You will just figure that out, obviously, with time. I did a lot, and this is why I am very vocal about it, about, not adding to the short and not, all of that, unless you do it with very small capital and good risk management. But anyway, it's also funny that a lot of people just posted that they are still in shorts from 70k, and now we bounced very close to their entry. Is that a coincidence? Maybe, Chichan, it is. Maybe it is. This one is Andy, I think, not deviled. This one is Andy, I think, not deviled. The new subscribers do not know if I'm Andy or Devil. I am Andy, okay? Deviled is the one that does the morning ones, okay? Much love, Deviled. I can see. This is Devil commenting, of course. I don't think I have CBD on my chart. This is also what is actually disturbing. Yes, like tapped, sipping on some tea while watching the alpha. Yeah, we're going to break down the alpha right now, because we're just doing a little bit of education and stuff. But let's talk about the different possibilities locally, really, here, because naturally at this point there is a bullish case. There is a bullish case that breaks out to the upside, okay? And whoever's in longs from either Monday, right? We gave the option of how to look for the longs on Monday, okay? Looking for the double bottom, but literally looking for that exhaustion here on Friday, looking for a couple of more 4-5s, which was the plan here, coming down to the point of control, literally right over here, that we were discussing on, last Friday's stream, right? The bounce here is possible. Will it be a bullish bounce or will it be a bearish bounce? That's what we do not know. But what we do know is when you get this information that we had, right? This was last week, considering the bullish case, we understand that we're breaking down with high volume on Friday, right? And if you had this choppiness to the downside, it made a lot of sense that if we are looking for an impulse, we're looking for a couple of 1-2s, high volume breakdown, choppiness in the weekend down to the point of control, right? Value area low maybe, right? But chopping in a downtrend structure, in a downtrend channel to get the bounce Sunday, Monday. Sunday, Monday was the looking for the bounce day, as explained on previous Friday stream, which naturally we did get that movement up. So whoever's in that long, it's naturally nice to take profits. Eventually, we got a nice move of $5,000-6,000 since last weekend. But holding some is like, why not hold some? Because there is a bullish case scenario. Okay, there is that bullish case scenario, which we are going to break down right away. Okay, considering Elliot Wave theory, I would still be interested, as mentioned, for the double top or the anchored VWAP on Bybit rejection, because there is a WXY, okay, which is different. Your triangle is your wave W, your flat is your wave X, and your zigzag here would be your wave Y. I would be interested still in the anchored VWAP rejection to enter the short. Same plan as last week for the anchored VWAP rejection swing short that was taken right at 73.5k. Just to break it down in an easy way, all right, then now we can go through Elliot Wave theory and make it a little bit more complex to see how the price could develop coming into the weekend. So, said that, let's break down the 1 hourly bullish case scenario, which I'm not a fan of, but what can we do? We are moving up. We got a bit of uptrend. It would be a wave 1 from the low to this local high. That has to be your wave 1. There's no other, no other high. We can't put a wave 1 here. So that has to be your wave 1. Where's your last high or low? It's right over here. This would have to be your wave 2. There is a way of stretching the wave 2. However, this wave 2 right over here is already over 5 times longer. So there is a way of fitting here a ABC movement, okay, to the downside, or WXY for this wave 2. Second wave 1, I cannot fit a wave 1 here because from this low we have a pump, dump, and pump. It's a 3-wave move right over here. So I need to fit wave 1 here. I can't fit it here because it needs to be an impulse. That said, after that wave 1, is this a wave 2? And that's a wave, another wave 1 and 2. Very tricky here for this to be an impulse. What is more clear here is that this movement to the downside that we had last week is more of it does look impulsive. This is a very, very classic impulse down. The one that we had from Wednesday's, last Tuesday's high to the Monday low, basically. It does look very impulsive. And what fits in better is a running flat here at the moment, okay? So running flat from this wave 1, what fits better for the bullish case, where you have a wave 1, wave 2, second wave 1, and second wave 2 in a running flat, which is also relatively long compared to this wave 1. It still doesn't look pretty, but we would have to consider it. And this is just building up a few more 1 and 2s, which could happen throughout the weekend to blast off in a wave 3 coming into next week, I would say. It could be very, very bullish. It could be very, very bullish. Obviously, I haven't been leaning on this massive bullishness, but to keep it very, very simple on the lower time frame, what we do have is clear invalidations for the bullish case scenario. So when we dive in here through the 15-minute time frame, your invalidation here for the bullish case, for the moment, we have a 3-wave move to the upside. Your invalidation for the bullish case, if you want to see price action continuing to the upside in the next few weeks and maybe go to $80,000 plus, right? Your invalidate, you do not want this higher low to be claimed. I would treat this higher low even as the invalidation, because you do have a bit of a WXY kind of formation, even this higher low. But let's go a little bit lower. This would be your invalidation for the bullish case to really break out in a 3rd wave. I'm not a fan of this scenario really, but it's very much a possibility. So you're looking at this to be a wave 1, wave 2 right over here. So that's your wave 1. This is your wave 2. What we would be looking at here is another wave 1 and another wave 2 on the formation, potentially into the weekend. That's your most bullish case scenario. This is your invalidation. The moment you get below 69.4k, I would forget about the bullish case, at least in the short term, because you would literally be confirming a 3-wave structure to the upside, which eventually means that there is a good chance that we could take out the low here, or at least continue the range and figure out what we have with the combinations here. But so if you are feeling very, very bullish and you didn't long yesterday, I mean, yesterday was you had a very, very good entry and good risk management. The reason why we didn't talk about it on the stream is because we didn't focus on Elliot Wave theory. We focused on Elliot Wave theory inside of the trading community, where we did discuss this trading setup where the price could squeeze in a triangle to form a sideways WXY. Naturally, the target is the highs. You want to take some profits, but we always like to leave some open, right? We like to leave some open if you've got a very, very good entry. And yesterday we were talking about this potential triangle formation for an A, B, C, D, E inside of the trading community, where we have this formation right over here. It was very, very possible. This gives you the option, because, yesterday I was very much in doubt here of, do we see the bullish pattern play out or the bearish one? And we need to prepare a few scenarios, right? One of the scenarios, it was if we squeeze in a triangle here, guys, we could pop to the upside, and your long position is coming in at the E wave. If you can detect that 5th wave, your stop loss comes below the C wave and you're targeting the E wave, right? So we are getting ready and planned inside of the trading community for that possible formation. Regardless of people taking that trade and waiting patiently for that formation, that's another thing, right? We spread the info, we give the possible setups. If we do form a couple of lower highs and a couple of higher lows, we need to detect that 5-wave triangle A, B, C, D, E. Your stop loss goes below the C wave, as you can see here on this screenshot. Not sure if you can see it. And that's literally what evolved throughout yesterday evening. So if you're in a long position here, naturally you want to take some profits right at that as you pump out from the highs. but you want to leave some open, be defensive. If the price were to come down all the way, you know, to 70k, I would be very, very skeptical about the bullish case, because you're almost coming into invalidation of your wave 2 right there. If you're coming down to this zone, you're probably going to take out the lows. If you do take out the lows, that's a confirmed 3-wave structure to the upside. But bullish case scenario, let's talk about the bullish case. By the way, guys, if you're interested in joining the community where you have the daily intraday possibilities, regardless shorts or longs, okay, a lot of times on YouTube I talk about the swing trade and the, you know, the bias, the main bias that I have on the higher time frame. But trading community on Telegram is where you get the alpha on the lower time frame and the possible intraday setups. Super simple to join. Send me a DM down below in the Telegram. Okay, super easy to get access. Sign up throughout one of the affiliate links. Minimum deposit for your own trading, and we hop you in the trading community for a few weeks. Okay, so bullish case scenario. Invalidation, pretty damn clear. It is this higher low. This higher low is the invalidation. The moment you take out that low, it favors the bearish case. At the moment, Bitcoin has been uptrending throughout the last few days very nicely, and we are trading above the value area high. That's a reality. We got back above value area high here. So naturally getting back below the value area high, and confirmation would be coming into the lows here. That would be quite bearish in my opinion. You got confirmed impulse down, confirmed 3-wave structure without taking out this high, which can be a lower high, of course. Wave 2, even though it's very steep, not great. It's not great, but it's possible. It's still a lower high. So if we were to lose value area high and get, you know, sweep up these lows, we got a 3-wave corrective, you know, we got a 3-wave structure, which is a corrective structure. It's a confirmation once you take out these higher lows. So that would be weakness. And that would be the moment in the next coming days that I would want to study very carefully the bounce. Because despite this short position being very small, I want to make it heavyweight, or I might enter heavyweight on my other bigger account. You know, I need confidence to make it heavyweight. Okay, I need confidence. What would be confidence in that case? It would be getting that breakdown, get that higher low at, you know, 69.5k ish, get back inside the value area. And the bounce is going to be studied very, very carefully. If the bounce looks corrective and overlappy, that's when I would trigger and go in heavy for the possible swing short to get down to 60k. But there's a lot of information here still needed, right? Price has been pumping, price is bullish. So for me to get back inside of a good heavy short, I need a little bit of information. And the information here is very simple to understand. For the moment, we got a 3-wave move up from the lows formed on Monday at 65.8k. That is a 3-wave move. If we get down here, you know, in maybe in between today and tomorrow, right, down at 69k again, and you know, this would still be in play. This would still be in play where we have a 3-wave move up, an impulsive move down here on the lower time frames from last week, and we have a 3-wave move up. You do have a lower high. It's not great, but it's possible. So this is why I'm in a baby short position, and I'm not confident of this short. I'm not confident at this moment for this to be a lower high, the lower high to come down to 60k. So somebody's question right now, what do you need to see to be confident, right? What do I need to see to be confident to get in heavy on this damn short that could make you significant gains for the month of March? We break down get back inside the value area of the zone of the last 5 weeks. We hit the higher lows of the last few days at 69k zone, and once the bounce happened, wherever that is, you might SFP from the lows or not, is the moment that I want to study the movement, right? If I can detect that is looking more corrective, is when will be the moment to take action on this heavyweight short position again. So it's very, very difficult, obviously, to catch the high, being responsible with good risk management. Okay, last week was relatively easy because, at least for me, because I had the anchored VWAP as my guideline, right? Anchored VWAP was my guideline, so I did manage to catch the high last week for that short, thanks to the anchored VWAP. If we were trading above anchored VWAP, I'm not shorting. If we trade back below it, I'm shorting, and my stop loss is, at the high. So, you obviously saw the trade throughout the last week where, it's literally this, right? With the potential of coming down to the lows. You can see the stop loss. It just, you can almost not see it, right? This high to be catched was challenging. I didn't have a plan here to catch this high. I didn't have a plan. My only plan was we break above the daily level. I'm not shorting. And the point of control, which is literally at the same level. I didn't have this one in consideration. When you get so close to the high, I literally don't have a solid short here. It's a little bit too steep, too far away. You usually take out the high when you come so close to it. So my plan based on yesterday's stream was reject from 72.6k, right? 72.7k almost. We need that, fake out naturally, okay? It's not shorting exactly at the level. It's shorting once you reject from the level. So you need the price moving up and back below it. So that's how I create my, how I have my stop loss. And this is why the entry, absolutely sucks, right, from this one. But this is why I'm not going very heavy on this short, just realizing that I don't have incredible probabilities for this short position. Probability, the possibility is there, but the probabilities are not that great. And if the probabilities are not that great, I will lower risk, right? I'm just explaining a little bit my plan here, guys, on how I trade. Regardless, when I do take a look at this account, right, we'll go through the P&L insights. If it wants to load, it's not massive. The P&L ain't that massive. Throughout the last few weeks, has been pretty stagnated here for several days. But this is just to explain how defensive I am on my setups. Basically, I'm just defensive, and once I do get that confirmation, this can turn into a heavyweight trade from this account, because what I want to see is basically as explained. This trade could probably get stopped out, which is going to be totally fine. It's not that much, but I realize the heavyweight potential that there is on this trading setup. We lose the value area high, take out those higher lows. That's the moment it's going to become very, very interesting for the higher time frame bearish case scenario. It will start looking very, very interesting if we were to roll down without taking out this high. So as information does develop, guys, I'm sorry, guys, this might look boring and like it doesn't make any sense, but it's just how I trade. I just share how I trade, okay? And how I feel confident about the trading setups. You take those higher lows, we're going to confirm a three-wave structure up if we do not take out the highs again. It's important to not take out the highs again here. But if it were to roll over here in the next couple of days and take out that higher low, right, we end up forming an impulse down, then the bounce here is going to be the golden ticket that I'm looking for. I had, I was hoping and expecting from the short trade that was taken last week that we were going to see a corrective bounce here. Somebody asked me yesterday, I think it was even yesterday in this range, when are you going to add to your short position, right? Because I had that heavyweight short position here that I wanted to make even more heavyweight. And somebody asked me in the comment section, when are you adding to this short? Because I had a plan to add to this short position. And I said, once we get a sign of weakness to the downside, right, in that impulse and a corrective structure to the upside, that's when I will add to the short position. Because the problem that we've had this week is that this move was pretty aggressive, and this move looked a good chance to be corrective, right? A bull pennant, right, if you wish. But when we're looking at Elliot Wave theory, it did look very overlappy. We had combinations of WXY ending up in a triangle, and it did look, we did have the possibility, as explained, to pump up. So I naturally, with this bounce, even though we're hitting the value area high, I'm in an epic short here from 73.5k. With this type of price action that we had in the last few days this week, I cannot add to this short position. Got stopped out at break even today with a pump. I cannot add to this short, guys, right? Why? Because we pumped that, that can be counted as an impulse, and the movement down looks corrective, bullish pennant, right? Just to keep it simple. I cannot add to this short with this movement. If we would have bounced up like this throughout the week, right, and got that overlap, right, very, very poor, overlappy, three-wavy structure, right, getting back below the point of control of the range, right, taking out the higher low, failing on the third wave, and, and then obviously the movement up is very corrective. Then I'm adding to the short. Then I'm saying, guys, this is likely corrective. Impulse down, correction up. Right? There's, that's the moment. That would be the moment to say, right, I'm going heavyweight. I'm adding to this short here, because I know the probabilities are in my favor. But that was not the case. That was not the case this week. We did pump pretty aggressively on Monday into Tuesday. And throughout the last couple of days, we were very choppy, very, very bullish pennant triangle formation. So the probabilities are starting to go a little bit against the possibility, right, of a lower high here. So yesterday we were discussing that there is still a chance of forming a three-wave structure here. And as long as you're forming a lower high, it could still be a three-wave corrective structure. Levels of interest, daily, right, double top. But yeah, I don't like a wave 2 being so close to the high, okay? It's not great for probability. So let's discuss a little bit more of the bullish case scenario. Bearish case scenario, there is still that chance on the lower time frame. Let me just clean up the chart here very, very quickly, and we'll zoom in on the 15-minute and discuss here a little bit of the bearish case. The bearish case is simply looking for an A, B, and C right over here. As you do have a lower high, it is possible for this to be impulsive and this corrective. Not great to hit the 0.88, right? But the bearish case right over here would have to see some kind of an impulse develop down, right? To be confident, take out those lows. Great. Now we got, high probability that this was a three-wave correction Impulse down, phenomenal. We're taking the higher lows. Any bounce here needs to be studied very, very carefully to say, right, now it's looking very good. Kind of this, but inverted, right? Instead of move up strongly and very, overlappy triangle, lots of overlap here, that looks very corrective. You want to see this inverted, right? This one gets follow through to the upside. This one would get follow through to the downside, right? In that rangy bounce. So that needs to be studied in the next coming days. If we were to move down, that's the moment to be confident. Right now, I'm not that confident, guys. I'm in a small short. Short had to be taken for me on the rejection. But it's not heavy. It's a very small position. And there will be time, as explained, to add to the short, okay? Trying to catch the highs here with a very big position is a bit dangerous, right? If you are bullish bearish, on the higher time frame, I've been leaning a little bit more bearish. Even though locally we look for longs. I mean, we talked about a long here on Friday. Look for the movement up here, right? Coming into Sunday, Monday. Look also for longs inside of the trading community. Based on the WXY that we could be forming right in the last couple of days. There's a long potential here. There is a long potential with stop loss at the low. So we do look for intraday longs as well, right? We do look for intraday long positions. New long position right now is going to be a little bit more complex. Let me know if the microphone is good, because I'm hearing a little bit of something weird. But yeah, I'll go through the comment section right away. Okay, I will go through the comment section in the next coming minutes, guys. Bear with me here. But sorry. Bearish case locally is simple. I mean, I've got a short potential at the anchored VWAP from Bybit. Okay. This is a guideline, guys. You get above it, I'm not interested in the short. You tap it and you get below it, I would be interested in getting into that short position, just as the anchored VWAP from last week on Coinbase. Okay, I treat it as so. It's a level of interest, right? This one over here. Just to give a little bit of a zone, and you treat them as guidelines. You're trading above it. I'm not shorting. If you trade back below it, I would enter the short. Stop loss at the high of the fake out. For a new short position here, it's going to be a little bit challenging. You might back test the daily and naked point of control. There is a chance here. Not easy to catch this as a short, guys. I have to say, my short entries absolutely sucks. It's just a rejection of the daily, right, and the naked point of control. It's like, because it's a small position, it doesn't really matter. But stop loss is at the high. Stop loss is at the high. So for a new. I'm going to explain the new long position and the new short position. New short position, because this drop is relatively aggressive. I mean, you could back test the daily and the naked point of control, fake out from it, and then roll back down. Could consider maybe a rejection at the 50% golden pocket, coming into that daily level, naked point of control, back test. It is very much a possibility that you can back test this point of control of this little mini range. But I wouldn't like it too much. If you were to break out, reclaim it again, yeah, not the greatest one. For me, for a new long position, better for a new short would take a few days, right, where you do form an impulse down, right? But the weekend is coming, so you could form a corrective structure here, which would lean great for the bullish case. I'm going to explain that now in the next coming minutes. But for a new short, I think we would have to see weakness. We would have to confirm that this is a three-way structure. The only way you can confirm that you have a three-way structure is taking out the higher lows in a 5-wave move down. And then obviously the corrective move to the upside is what's going to be looking good for short executions to break in a third wave, right? Next short opportunity, better short opportunity, in my opinion, would be in the next few days, confirming a breakdown and look for the bounce for that short. Okay, would be much better. In the trading community, in the Telegram, we will be we always update every day, right? Weekends we keep it a bit slow, but Monday to Friday we're very active with the lower time frames and the different local possibilities for the trading execution. On YouTube, of course, we can draw, we can speculate on what could form, but as we get the information inside of the trading community, guys, is where we have easier, much easier to provide the momentum, what we're looking at, where we're hitting, where can we look for a quick short scalp execution. It's much easier, guys. And right now is your chance. Anybody that's not in there, it's super simple to join, guys. Send me the DM down below in the Telegram, join one of the affiliate links, do a minimum deposit for your own trading, and hop in for a few months in the trading community. That's where you get insane alpha, guys. Okay, we do give a lot of love and power inside of there, and possibilities, obviously with very good risk management, such as Devil and myself providing the intraday possibilities. Bullish case scenario. Let's talk about the bullish case. Andy just shared a larger corrective structure that can form here inside of the community. Absolute legend here. Devil confirming here that obviously Devil is providing many updates today inside of the trading community, sharing a correction. So yeah, absolutely. This bearish case not looking extremely great. We hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, so it's not that great. That if this is an impulse and this is a three-wave structure, hitting the 0.88 above the 0.88 naturally is not great for a wave 2. It's not great. It's possible, but it's not great. So corrective structure, bullish case scenario would be looking for, the most bullish case scenario is looking for a wave 1, a wave 2, another wave 1, and another wave 2 developing here. I have to say, this movement to the downside would be a little bit too fast for a V-shaped recovery. Naturally, what you like to see after a nice little pump to the upside here is a little bit of a overlapping rangy structure where you can detect if it is a correction. These are fast, aggressive moves. It's a little bit more volatile. This is where the magic happens, right? This is where you can, once you have a little bit of information, you can predict the next possible scenarios, right? Such as the triangle here mentioned yesterday, right? With a bit of information, we can predict one of the scenarios, right, that could happen, right? Bullish option number 2. The bullish option number 1 was literally coming to sweep the lows, right? But if we range it in a triangle, with the information that we have, we can pop in, we can pop in a WXY with a triangle for a trade setup, which is literally what happened, right? We did squeeze in a triangle in the end here to get that break. So a bullish option, a corrective structure on the most bullish case scenario here would be, this is a wave 1. This consolidation here is a wave 2. We talked about the bearish one. Bearish is ABC. To be confident, we need an impulse down to take that higher low. Then obviously correction in the coming days will be very interesting. That's when I would go heavyweight for short positions. We need a few more days for that, and we need to take out these lows. Bullish option 1, 2, and then 1, 2. This is your invalidation. Then 69.4K level, higher low, is your invalidation here, literally for your second wave 2. That would be your second wave 1, Second wave 2 invalidation is this red horizontal line, right, at 69.4k. So you need a higher low. You need a higher low in between 50% and the 7/8 Fibonacci most commonly for that wave 2. When your invalidation is crystal clear, it is literally these higher lows from yesterday, right? Can we form that wave 2? Well, what we want to see here, this is too fast. I don't favor V-shaped recovery. If it V-shapes, then so be it. Very hard long to get into. But what we need to see is a bit of more information. Boom, 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 rejection, come back down, boom, another pump, right? You're overlapping that pivot. Okay, cool. This could be a 3-wave structure. Do we impulse up here? Do we correct down here? And obviously, you know, coming into the week, Sunday or Monday, we can detect if this is going to be high probability corrective, where we would have our invalidations for the new setup. And literally, we basically form the magic inside of the trading community to talk about the setups, the good risk management, right? But we need, obviously, that information for the bullish case here, for the 112. We need to range. We need information, right? To say, right, it can be corrected because we could be forming, you know, a zigzag down and a flat for wave X. And then, you know, it might form another zigzag down or a triangle, right? We can wait for the different possibilities and be ready with a plan to execute that trade. But naturally, you know, I can't say that this is a good long, right? Despite if we formed a V-shaped recovery, I don't have a plan for that. We need to range here. If it is going to be bullish, it will correct. It will form, you know, something similar to this, right? Or something else, right? It might be a sharp zigzag down, and then we get a big impulse, and then, you know, the correction will be studied to look for the long. We need more information, right? Just as here, for that bullish. But bullish case would be 1, 2, right? 1 and 2. Your invalidation, anybody that wants to be brave enough and has good risk management, is say, screw the corrective structure that you're waiting for the next coming days. I ain't got any time. So I'm just going to get into the long, and I'm going to put the stop loss at those higher lows, and I'm going to, you know, see if we're going to break out in a wave 3, right? And then, you know, throughout next week. Your invalidation is this one. So, you know, you can always risk 0.5%, right, on a trade and say, you know what, I'm actually happy, I'm bullish, I think we're going to take out these highs and break out successfully. I would not want to be in a long position, just like many people that are in shorts. I don't understand this, guy. I seriously don't. I think it's because it's something that I haven't done for many years now. And I do get it, because unexperienced traders are going to hold positions at a loss and hope for the reversal. We said yesterday, we were very, very vocal about, guys, this could be an impulse. This could be a correction. This might pop out. And, you know, even though the higher time frame looks better for bearish, local time frame rules the next move. I can be bearish on the daily time frame or on the 4-hourly time frame, and I can be relatively neutral, maybe leaning on to bullish on the 1-hourly 15-minute time frame. The new information rules the next move, not the 4-hourly time frame, one daily time frame analysis. And this is why yesterday I was like, guys, we could see a correction here. I mean, even in the side of the trading community, you know, we're talking about long setups. You know, it's like, how come you're bearish? How come you're bearish on the higher time frame? And, you know, well, in the 15-minute time frame, we're looking for longs. We realize that this could be correction. We could pop out above 72K, right? It's possible, right? So, new information rules the game, local information rules the game, and it's going to be very important next few days based on, we take out those higher lows in an impulse down and we correct to the upside. I'm going to be max bear. I'm going to be looking for shorts. I will realize that the higher time frame bearish case scenario, 3-wave up, impulse down, 3-wave up here, still valid for a wave 2. If we impulse down here and we correct to the upside, trapped again inside of the value area high, inside of the value area zone here, I'm gonna short Bitcoin like crazy, because this could be the opportunity that brings us down to 60k on that sign of weakness and a corrective rangy bounce. So I mean, unfortunately, that's the only option that I have right now for being max bear, to get into a short, unless I want to try and catch the high if we were to pump into that anchored VWAP on Bybit, which is it would be an option, because there is another bearish case scenario here as explained, WXY, WX as a triangle, but still you're forming a zigzag here. I would still treat this as a potential entry on the rejection with stop loss at the high. Always stop loss, always stop loss. Always a stop loss above or below the fake out territory, right? In this case that we're explaining. Always, always, always. There's no exceptions. No, there's never an exception in trading when you're risking your capital. There's never an exception of, this time I will, put a limit short here and a limit short here, and then we will see how it goes, right? No. There's never that. Never. You do that, you'll find out, right? Do it, try it, and find out. But we don't educate people to do any of that type of trading, right? We got an awesome comment yesterday, no, actually today, inside of the trading community, which is I'm really happy to see that people really do appreciate basically the community, and basically appreciating the education for being patient and managing risk very much. Okay, Victoria here, noticed today while crossing the road with cars that these 1.5 months that I'm listening to Devil and Andy, okay, become much more patient than I used to be. I'm a very impatient person, right? And thanks to basically our education and way of providing the information and how we trade, showing that patience could be something nice. Okay, but yeah, very much nice comments, of course, inside of the trading community, which is very much appreciated, right? We do put a lot of effort and a lot of info for people to be successful traders, and obviously there's no quick money to be made. All right, you can scale and make gains throughout the months, but it's all about it's a very strong learning curve that does usually take many months to develop, but then once you do develop it, it's actually very lucrative and very good. But a lot of people use trading as gambling, right? Make quick gains, and I think everybody crosses that period in trading. It took me 2 years to get to break even. So 2 years it did take me to get to break even, which was relatively long for me. And we're trying to cut the curve, of course, right, for a lot of the people. Anyway, the scenarios have been literally explained here, guys. There's no more that we can discuss very locally here. It could either be a 112 on the most bullish case scenario, and the bears still have a chance. They still have a chance because we formed a lower high so far, and we got a 3-wave move up. And if you take out this higher low at 69.4k, then it's going to be very interesting in the next few days. I would obviously remain bearish in that case if that were to happen, because the overall higher time frame scenario, 3-wave move up, impulse, 3-wave move up, take out that higher low, will be a confirmation. You might have a steep wave 2 here, very nasty steep wave 2, which is very uncommon, but we have to see, right? And the bullish case scenario is maintaining that 69.4k low. That is your invalidation. You do not want that low to be taken. To take out this local high. Well, literally 674k. This low needs to maintain into the weekend with choppiness. It needs to maintain for this to possibly be a 1-2, 1-2, maintain bullish local market structure. If you are feeling bullish, I would not feel bullish if you take out 69.4k. I would not feel bullish at all. So just invalidation levels, right? What we need to see, price needs to chop around, form a bit of a bullish pennant, right? And for the very hard short up here, guys, very, very hard short. I'm in a very poor short position entry. Well, it's just, but I'm managing risk. I'm happy with my risk management. The plan was the same as yesterday's. However, the wick was a bit higher than I expected. And once we got back below, then, I executed the short at 72.6. That was my level. That's the level that was lost. That was the plan. And, I trade based on my plan. And if I don't like it too much, then I'll obviously lower a little bit of risk. If I like it, I'll go in heavy, 3%. If I don't, I'll go, 1% or so. That's literally it, legends. There's really not much to discuss. We do have that support, point of control, value area of the last couple of days. This was Tuesday to Thursday. Got some nice, nice volume here at 70.4k. That's coming into confluence with pivot low to the pivot high. Golden pocket 7-8. Might be more 7-8 from this higher low. Would be steep. Yeah, value area high. Not, if we move down very aggressively into this level, it can be treated as a little scalp entry, of course. It is a high volume node from a couple of days. But the thing about this, right? You could form a 1-2, 1-2, yeah, and then roll over. Treat them as scalps. It's much better to actually form a confirmed 3-wave corrective structure, get a bit of a range, and then you can have that 1-2, 1-2, and look for a better long entry in the coming days. Might be Saturday into Sunday, getting ready for the pump at breakout. If this does look corrective, right, which we need overlap, we need information basically to analyze this structure. Very, 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 very soon right now to consider a long, at least for me anyway, guys. This could V-shape, but I don't have a long entry based on my strategy and way of trading. But it could V-shape, right? You might think, well, you said wait for a correction. You said wait for a movement down as an impulse and a corrective wave move up. And the price V-shaped. You suck at technical analysis. Nothing works. Well, it didn't happen this time, right? What can I say? But I just wouldn't have a long. I can't have a long here. For a V-shaped recovery. I don't have a plan for that. So anyway. Jerome, the man himself, is this the same Jerome that's in the trading community? Because if he is, he's absolutely awesome. He provides so many different scenarios that could happen on the lower time frame. Oh, it's not. Sorry, Joan is the one, not Jerome. My bad, I got confused here. Joan is somebody that sometimes pops on the streams. I'm not sure if he is in here today, but he's great, very experienced Elliot Wave analyst that provides a lot of scenarios inside of the community as well. Devil, much love. Just shared a corrective structure, he says, inside of the trading community. Absolutely epic. Jerome, much love. Much love to you, Jerome. Jerome always hops in on the streams. Much appreciated, man. I do appreciate you. Thanks. Yeah, Andy, your TA is mid frame. Why are you not on Oracle? Please read the cards properly. Nice one, my man. Much love, Jerome. Thanks for joining, guys. Happy Friday. Not much that we can discuss. I think we need to be a little bit patient. Bears have a chance still. For a new long position, we need to see a corrective range in the weekend, which could happen because weekends are usually low volatility. So we had low volatility downtrend channel last weekend. Could we get a low volatility downtrend channel that could end up corrective? It could be interesting because it might pop out into the week next week, but we need that info. We need that info to be confident, right? So happy Friday all. Much love. Thanks for joining. Have you seen the 2022 BTC fractal going around Twitter? Yes, we did have it ready here. We were actually talking about it in the last few days. We actually got it here on the bars pattern. It's actually not this one because this one is this price action, which is very similar also. But it's rather this one. Holy smokes. This is still in play, guys. We did not take out the highs of last week. This could still be in play, right? This is the 2022, right? April to June fractal, right? Like someone said in the comment section, we were talking about it yesterday. And I actually created a short about it. Just very, very similar way of moving, right? Throughout the last several weeks, basically. Maybe it happens. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining the stream. Joan is a machine. He definitely is. Joan inside of the Telegram is an absolute machine. He provides 30 updates and scenarios every day. Guys, if you want to join the community, super simple to join, okay? Send me a word access. We are very active. We put a lot of love and power and look for setups and educate. We answer questions. And if you're not in it already, you're missing out. Super simple to join. I'll share the instructions, okay, inside of the Telegram. Thank you very much, guys, for joining today's stream. It is Friday. Enjoy the weekend with loved ones, family, and friends. Don't drink too much. And have a great weekend, guys. Thank you for joining and smashing up the like button if you did. If you didn't, make sure to do so before you leave. And have a great weekend, guys. Thank you. See you in the next one.